I wonder if other people have been as misrepresented as I and others have been thanks to this guy. Allow me to introduce to you Noah, also known as Burns Bible Talks, which is a very weird name on TikTok. About a month ago, he and I and several other Latter-day Saints on my live panel had a conversation about who was the Heavenly Mother. After that live, he posted this.
All right, this is a question for the Mormons. I was told by some Mormons last night that the Heavenly Mother's name is Asherah. It's Asher and then just put an AH there at the end of it. And this is their goddess that they would call the Heavenly Mother, the wife of God, God the Father. This is in Judges 6:25, and it came to pass that night that the Lord said unto him, Take thy father's young bullock, even the second bullock of 7 years old, and throw down the altar of Baal that thy father hath, and cut down the grove that is by it. That Hebrew word for grove, and I'll show a picture up here now, is Asherah. Okay? And then now I'll put a picture up here of the statue that they are calling the Heavenly Mother, and they said this Heavenly Mother is next to Yahweh, but it's actually next to Baal. So, Mormons, let me know what you guys think on this subject. If I'm wrong, let me know.
For the next month, Noah had been going on to several different lives. Latter-day Saint, non-Latter-day Saint, pro-Latter-day Saint, anti-Latter-day Saint, you name it, he was on there, all trying to claim that I and several others, including my friend Elios, had claimed that the Heavenly Mother was Asherah. However, after several times of showcasing that no, that's not the case at all, well, now's the time to show what that full conversation actually was a month ago.
Noah, what can we do for you?
No, I had a question about the Heavenly Mother, what her name was.
We have no idea.
If she has one. You don't know her name?
We really know very little about her. Very little about her has been revealed.
What about her has been revealed that I can go look into?
Just that she exists.
Where you mentioned like that has been revealed. Like where can I find that she has been revealed? Like Bible or Book of Mormon, or I have one on me.
So yeah, it wouldn't be in either one of those. It would be in teachings that other prophets have said. We right now the most living prophet, his name is Dallin H. Oaks, had actually spoken on it. I want to say it was probably about 9 months ago, where he actually said that when it comes to our Heavenly Mother, we know that she exists, but we have had precious little revealed about her.
Okay. So how would he say that you guys know that she exists?
Revelation.
Okay, just off the revelation.
Yeah, so we don't believe that Scripture is the end all be all. You know, just like the first century Christians and pre-exilic Hebrews, we don't hold to Scripture alone. In fact, you know, we do hold to Scripture as far as doctrine and for teaching, like it does say in Timothy, but we don't see it as the end all be all. In fact, I would say our first authority is ultimately God Himself through His living representatives.
Okay. Yeah, I was just wondering because I've actually sat down with some Mormons that actually live where I'm at, and we've kind of had the discussion about it, and that it kind of just seems, and I don't think they know about I mean, they are pretty young. I don't know if they knew what you just said about the revelation, because I pretty much got the same answer from them every time. That's why I'm just kind of trying to ask you guys and just any other Mormons about it, just because.
Yeah, like, and that's the thing, is like we just don't know. We don't know a lot about her. We really don't. So
are you saying you just believe it because it was revealed to that prophet? What was that name again you mentioned?
So Dallin H. Oaks, and it wasn't just revealed to him. It's been mentioned by others as well. He's just the latest one who's spoken on it. Okay. When it comes to I I tried letting you up, Ronan. It just timed out. But in any case,
Is it a public thing where he announced? I'm sorry, just the revelation.
Yeah. It was actually to a stake conference. So we have geographic areas. So we have wards, which is probably the smallest, wards and branches, and then outside of that, a collection of wards would be a stake. So it would be a conference where he actually spoke about that. So, but there's also a hymn that was written by a woman named Eliza R. Snow back in the 1800s, where it's called "Oh My Father," and it's in our current hymn books. And there's a line in it that says that, in the heavens our parents single, no, the truth makes reason stare. Truth is reason, truth eternal, tells me I have a mother there. So this was something that was understood even going as far back as the early days of the Restored Church.
So why do you think they didn't talk about her, or in the past 6,000 years that she's never been mentioned?
There's mentions about her in other types of biblical texts. So, for instance, like the Qumranic scrolls, the Dead Sea Scrolls, actually mention the courtesan of God, regarding someone like Asherah and things like that. But as far as modern revelation is concerned, again, very little. Ronan, go ahead. Mosiah, I'm going to leave you in charge for a second. I got to step away for a second.
I wanted to just add something real quick before we switch topics. Elder Dale G. Renlund, Elder Quorum of the 12 Apostles, in April 2022, gave a talk where he touched on Heavenly Mother a little bit, and he said, very little has been revealed about Mother in Heaven, but what we do know is summarized in a gospel topic found on our gospel library application. Once you have read what is there, you will know everything that I know about the subject. So,
real quick, just before I finish off, and I can leave this to you guys. So the Dead Sea Scrolls mention, from you guys' point of view, I don't know if you guys are Mormon, if you guys could answer this for me. So basically, what is it? Latter Day Lion. So what he just said about Asherah possibly being the Heavenly Mother.
That is definitely alluded to in some of the older Hebrew manuscripts, but that is not.
You cut out for a second. So you said that
it's alluded to in some of the older manuscripts, definitely, like what we found in the Dead Sea Scrolls. However, the LDS Church doesn't have any doctrine or revelation or specific stance on whether or not Mother in Heaven is Asherah or anything like that.
But you would relate it in that way, possibly, that she could be?
Possibly, but like I said, it's not like solidified doctrine or revelation.
Okay. I got you.
Do you guys want to know why we do not know about a Heavenly Mother?
I have no clue, personally.
Okay, let me explain this to you. Hold on, Noah. Hold on. The reason why we do not know about our Heavenly Mother is the way we treat Heavenly Father. We take His name in vain. We become abusers of hatefulness towards Him. This is why we do not know.
It depends on who you are. I mean, it just depends on who you are, I guess.
No, I am a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Our Heavenly Mother has been mentioned in the book of Genesis. And from that point on, if we knew her name, we would take her name in vain. Just like when we say, oh my God, or something like that. That's why we do not know her at all. We treat her as an abusive.
So they didn't talk about her because they didn't want the name being taken in vain?
Exactly.
No, that is also speculation.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm kind of trying to
That's
get at.
something that I've heard growing up in the church. Now, it's not like an official church doctrine that the prophets have revealed that we don't know about her because of that reason. But it's something that's kind of been been spread around, I guess. But again, really, we don't know why we don't know.
So with the Mormons that I met with, so they came to the door one time, and I didn't even know that the Heavenly Mother was a belief, and so we talked about some other topics. I met with them one time, and it's like I don't mean this to come off in a bad way, and maybe just because they were young, but like 50% of the things they said they didn't know, and 50% was too sacred for them to talk about. So we didn't really get anywhere. But then this third time that I met with them, they had new Mormons there that I spoke to, and it was just we didn't really get anywhere. Actually, I think the same example that who was that? Was it Ronan or was it? It wasn't. It was. I believe it was Ronan. Just mentioned that basically we just because they blaspheme. He said, and this is actually his words. His name is I can't remember his name now, but he pretty much said. Huh?
Oh, go ahead, Noah. I said Bonnie's gone, so apparently I'm in charge with the power, which I still don't know why everyone puts me in charge.
Yeah, you're good. And so so what he mentioned the exact same thing, and he kind of mentioned, he said, I don't mean this to come off in a blasphemous way. He said, but if you were in God's shoes and you had the and you had a heavenly wife
with Royal, actually.
Huh?
Okay, Judo, you're interrupting Noah. You're going to be I'm muting you until he's done asking his question. Sorry, bud.
Oh,
Go ahead.
So he pretty much said the same thing. He said if you were in God's shoes and you had a heavenly wife, I don't know if you guys would see it that way, heavenly wife, but would you mention her knowing that God's name gets blasphemed and mocked and put in vain? Personally, if that is my heavenly mother of the spirit children, 100% her name should be mentioned as a heavenly parent or having. And there's a lot of questions I would have. Is she a co-creator? I'm having a hard time trying to understand. Like, if there's not anything biblical or in the Book of Mormon, where does the belief even come from? Just besides Revelation.
You've got pretty much all the same questions that every member does, and really the answer is the only thing that we know is the prophet Joseph Smith said that it was revealed through revelation that she exists, and that's basically what we know.
It has to be Book of Mormon in the Bible. Like, we believe God always reveals things, so to narrow ourselves to 2 or even 3 books, if you count D and C, was kind of would be the antithesis of that. But, and I said, if you're talking about missionaries, I was like, most of them are 18. They're not deep doctrine apologists by any standard of what.
And I get that 100%. Yeah, go ahead.
So unfortunately, a lot of them would be like, yeah, she exists, but that's not like. For us, there's 9. You could probably correct me on the what they are, but we have 9 core pillars that really all just are meant to point to their death, resurrection, and the atonement of Christ, and what that does for and then it all ties into the plan of salvation. That's really all the missionaries are, is to teach those 9 core, how it ties into the atonement and everything ties into the overall plan that God has for his children. Like getting into Heavenly Mother, and that's great, but does not necessarily tie into the salvation of man.
So just one more question here. So So you mentioned the Heavenly Mother not being mentioned on purpose for a reason, because of the way that she could be blasphemed in the Old Testament, maybe New Testament. So why is the revelation revealed now and not then? What changed? To where her revelation would come now to Joseph Smith, but not to the.
Well, and again, like I said, that is not doctrine. The idea that is the reason we don't know about Heavenly Mother. That's a reason that has been speculated by members. And I understand it's a pretty popular idea, but
do you get what I mean, though? Like, mentioning that her name wasn't mentioned in any of the Old Testament because her name could have been blasphemed. But now all of a sudden her name's getting revealed.
Well, it depends on what you're looking at, Noah. Like if you're going to be looking at, like, for instance, the Qumranic scrolls, the Qumranic text, it actually does mention the courtesan of Yahweh known as Asherah. And so you have all these other kind of things kind of building up out of that. So we don't actually know if that actually is the Heavenly Mother, but we do know that she exists. And so to suggest that, again, that this kind of goes into the concept of God being formless, genderless, without body parts and passions, right? Like this is not the Latter-day Saint understanding. This is not this is not even what the understanding was of the Mosaic Hebrews or the First Temple Jews. Like this is
Wait,
so.
do you not believe that God the Father is a man?
Oh, we absolutely do.
Just from what you just said, that's what I'm just asking.
Yeah, we do.
Not
we do.
knowing his gender.
But
Okay.
What I say is that we don't fall into the creedal notion of God being without form or is without body parts or passions, like it says in the Westminster Confession. The Latter-day Saint understanding is that the Father himself is embodied, just as Jesus Christ is, and so that is something that we absolutely do teach and absolutely do hold to.
Okay. I just with the idea with, of course, now I was actually just reading through Judges. So there's a place, and the reason I would have a hard time believing Asherah as even close to an idea of the Heavenly Mother. I believe Judges in 6:25, God commands them to cut down the altar of Baal and the grove next to it. The Hebrew word for grove is Asherah in the Hebrew language. So that's why I personally wouldn't want to view it that way, because that wooden pole of Asherah was put next to Baal, the altar of Baal, and God commanded for them to cut both of them down. So I just don't, like I said, you guys don't believe that is an actual doctrinal, but if it's something that is believed to possibly be Asherah, that's what I'm trying to understand with that belief system.
So the problem with a lot of, and this is more just evolution of religion, but if you take the story of Abraham as literal, he would have been a Canaanite in their pantheon, worshiping Yahweh, who was a god of storms. He really did not, up until 3000 BC, really become the supreme creator god of anything. He was desert storms in a variety of pantheons around the time that we claim Abraham walked and spoke with him. And
Did you say that
was Yahweh's mate in that pantheon? So
Asherah was Yahweh's mate?
His courtesan, yeah.
Asherah is his partner, his mate, his wife, whatever. I use mate because that's kind of the generic term that is seen across various.
You mean Yahweh God?
So here's what we're looking at, because again the Qumranic text kind of upended a lot of things, especially when looking at things from the Trinitarian perspective. And I did a little bit of a click, because you're half right, Noah, about Asherah being a grove, right? But the thing is, though, is that it's also being referred to as a Canaanite goddess. So Asherah, it depends on the context. Like Hebrew is a very context-heavy language, and so depending on the context, the Asherah would have either been a goddess that would have been Yahweh's courtesan, or a grove of trees, or a pole, basically. And so when we're looking at, like, for instance, in 1 Kings 18, where it was commanded that the Asherah be obliterated alongside the prophets of Baal, it basically had to do with, again, there was that grove of trees, that Asherah, but this also had to do with Israel being punished for worshiping someone other than Yahweh.
But I think the thing for me is the idea that the grove, why would that grove be worshipped next to Baal? Like that, and that even God, even if to a point to where
there's no indication that it would have been worshipped. But again, it's one of those things. So just responding to Cheese in the comments here, it's one of those things where you most of the time see it written as opposed to hearing it said.
I gotcha.
So and I've heard it pronounced, Asherah or Asherah, one of the, like, both times. So I may switch back and forth between them. In any case,
I mean, that's fine. I don't even really know how to pronounce it. I just kind of,
yeah.
So it's almost like how we have with a lot of the ancient Egyptian gods. We actually don't know how they were pronounced. We're taking our best guess off the.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's all we really can do.
So, but yeah, like, and this is the thing, like a lot of the issues here is that, like, based on the Qumranic text, she is the courtesan of Yahweh. But
can you explain to me that word? I'm sorry, courtesan.
Yeah, courtesan. Right? So you know why? So it's kind of the same thing with Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip, right? So Prince Philip was a prince. He was the royal courtesan, basically the like what Mosiah was saying as far as the mate, but also or could be like a spouse or something like that. So you're a courtier, you're a courtesan, basically, in that sense.
We mixed courtesan, which was essentially a hooker.
Yeah, no. So yeah, it's in a royal sense, which is what this would be referring to. It is specific. Oh, excuse me. It's specific to a relationship, like a spouse or a girlfriend or something like that.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah. So,
right,
but like I said,
I appreciate
as far as like the Heavenly Mother is concerned, again, we know that she exists, but we don't know anything beyond that. So,
okay. So the mention. Again, I'm so sorry. I've never heard that. I don't think I've ever heard that word before.
No, you're fine.
You mentioned with Yahweh.
Yeah, so she was Yahweh's courtesan, and again, this is based off of the Dead Sea Scrolls. This is based on what we have in there.
I've never read them before. I don't even know where I'd find them. So I'll have to
more
look
of
into that.
Issue with evolution of religion than anything. But like, if you actually trace like the name Yahweh, trace its line, he wasn't like a creator god from the get. Like like in the Canaanite pantheon, he was the god of desert storms. You prayed to him when you wanted rain in the middle of a desert. And as I said, if you track,
I thought that was
Abraham's
Baal.
migration.
Baal was what was Baal? I'm trying to remember what Baal was, but no, Yahweh.
Yeah, it says
Yahweh was
Baal was a Canaanite and a deity known as Lord of storms, rain, and fertility. So it wasn't Yahweh; it was Baal.
Oh, you look at Yahweh in the Canaanite pantheon, he was god of desert storms. Like, they were not bound to one god being one thing. That's why you have Poseidon, god of the seas. Then you have Tryphus, god of the oceans. Then you have Triton, god of the Indian Ocean Sea. Like, a lot of multi-god, polytheistic pantheons did not regulate one thing to one god.
Right. I mean, like even in the Greek pantheon, like Athena and Ares were both gods of war, but they had other types of things. So Ares was the god of war and bloodshed, whereas Athena was the goddess of war and battle strategy.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate you guys explaining it to me. So I'll let you guys get more people up here. But yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, not a problem. Thanks for coming up, Noah.
Yeah, no problem.
Did we say that Latter-day Saints actually believe that Asherah is the Heavenly Mother? Or was there something else going on? And is Burns ultimately shown to be a liar and a hypocrite? You be the judge. Hey everyone, if you like this video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video for those who are looking for, well, shall we say, more apologetics with bite. Don't forget to ring the bell so you can also be notified when new videos drop as well. Also, be sure to follow me on Instagram, X, and TikTok for more insights and to potentially chat with me on a live panel. If you disagree with me on any of the topics I presented, scan the QR code to send me an email and we'll get it set up.